Today we're going to start talking about sandpapers. We go from a really coarse sandpaper to a really fine sandpaper. The coarsest we use is 220, then 320, 400, then 600. When you are done filing, you're going to see that your edges are nice and smooth and you don't have any lines that go horizontally against the edge. You don't want to see any of that texture. When you're sanding, you're just going to take little pieces of the first sandpaper and you're going to work it along the edge of the project. You can set your bench pin up and do it along the top of your bench pin. You can also make yourself little sanding tools. So I have little popsicle sticks. You can also take a scissors and snip it tighter if you need to, and you can actually just wrap that sandpaper against the stick to force it into different areas. It also will help you to kind of go along curves. And I want you to check with me before you switch sandpaper. So you're going to do this with every single sandpaper. Tiny strips. You're going to see the edge go from really shiny to it starts to get softened and dull. After you've gone through all of the sandpapers, you're then going to use bigger pieces and you're going to get a tape block. So at the tape station, or where I've shown you where the tape is, you're going to take a roll of masking tape. You're going to stick it to one side of a block. I'm right-handed, so I always tend to stick it to the left-hand side. You're going to stick it down with your thumb. You can see the tape stuck to my thumb. You're going to wrap and roll this tape around the entire block, catching the last edge of the last row. Usually about 4 rotations will be the length of your project, and now it's all sticky side up. You're going to take your project. I'm going to leave this paper on until I flip it. You're going to tape your project down. Make sure it's nice and secure. It even will stick to your desk, which is nice. And you're going to take the first sandpaper. You're going to choose a direction. What you're going to get out are all of the flaws and scratches. This one takes the longest. There are tongue depressors that you can use as a tool as well. You can wrap like this, and you're just going to start going in one direction. So if I start going side to side, you can see it looks like it's putting scratches in. Sometimes that makes people panic. You're actually removing a layer of metal to get rid of any scratches. So you can see all these little dark areas it hasn't touched. You also can just use your finger, letting the sandpaper do the work, but of course the harder you push down, the quicker it'll go. Just don't want you to tire your hands too quickly. So as you do this, you're trying to get rid of anything that's not going in that direction. So if you take a look at it in a different direction, which you'll see me doing a lot, I try to catch the light and I'll look at it in different directions. And then I will circle any flaws that you need to still sand out. So I'll have my Sharpie in hand. You can see right here it's nice and dark around that ring. It's because the sandpaper is not reaching it. Good time to put it on a stick so you can kind of get the sandpaper in a corner to your advantage. And you're just going to keep sanding, moving, manipulating. Keep using the same sandpaper for a while. It does last longer than you think it would. Even if it's tore in spots, you can refold it. So exposing those areas that are still in decent shape with the grit. And like I said, staying in that one direction. If you go in a bunch of different directions, you won't know if you're ready for the next sandpaper. After you've gotten it okayed by me and I haven't circled anything, I'm going to tell you to move on to the next one. That's going to be 320. So you're going to do 320 and you're going to go against the grain. This is because we're removing another layer, but you can see that it's in a finer capacity. You are using a finer grit. So as we move to smoother and smoother grit, it gets shinier and smoother. So you're going to use 320, and what you're doing with the 320, you are trying to get rid of any lines that were going horizontally. Or if you started vertical, then you're trying to get rid of ones that went vertical. So it's up to you in which direction you start. You just have to change each time you change sandpaper. So when I'm going up and down like this, I try to kind of stick to one letter at a time. I move the block around so it's a comfortable position for me. Sometimes I even put it on an angle And every time you bring it to me, I want it to be still stuck to the tape. If you keep having to take it off the tape to bring it to me, you're going to have to keep retaping your block because this is all metal dust and it will prevent your tape from sticking anymore, and it might even scratch up the other side if you don't have paper still on it. So keep it stuck. Come to me with a block like this. I will circle any flaws, and each time I will tell you to change sandpaper. So first the edges, all grits of sandpaper, all 4 of them. Then all 4 changing directions on one side. By the time you finish up to 600, if you've done it properly, you'll see that you can almost see a reflection in it. So it does take time. Your hands are young and they may not withstand the sandpaper as much. Take some breaks if you need to. Make those little tools. That is very helpful as well. And just sit and relax and sand away. The next step will be buffing, which takes out the fine lines, and polishing, which adds gloss. All right, all of these sandpapers at the end of class, if they are all tore up like this, you can throw them away. If they are still useful and you're still using them, they can go in your bin. The sand blocks themselves, you don't want to put those in your bin. Other classes are using them, but you can see I slid mine off, and if I grab the same size or the same one, I can usually slip it back on. You can also take this off, wrap it in paper towel. It'll protect it, and you want to prevent any scratches from going on after you've done all the hard work to get them out. All right, that's it.